King Leopold II of Belgium. He never set foot in the Congo, but his orders killed millions. King Leopold II ruled Belgium from 1865 to 1909, but his most notorious actions came from his private ownership of the Congo Free State. Under the guise of philanthropy, Leopold instituted a brutal forced labor regime to extract rubber and ivory. Villagers who failed quotas were mutilated, hands were chopped off as warnings. Mass starvation, disease, and murder led to the deaths of an estimated 10 million Congolese. Unlike many kings who ruled by direct conquest, Leopold operated through a corporate front, masking genocide behind paperwork and diplomacy. Ivan IV of Russia. He turned paranoia into state policy. Ivan IV, known as Ivan the Terrible, ruled as Russia's first Tsar from 1547 to 1584. His reign began with reforms, but quickly descended into cruelty. After the death of his beloved wife, Ivan launched the Oprichnina, a reign of terror where secret police slaughtered entire towns suspected of disloyalty. He executed nobles without trial, tortured advisors, and even killed his own son in a fit of rage. Entire regions, like Novgorod, were depopulated. Ivan's obsession with control created a legacy of fear that shaped Russia's autocratic politics for centuries. Emperor Nero of Rome. He ruled with excess, silenced dissent with murder, and watched his city burn. Nero, Emperor of Rome from 54 to 68 CE, became infamous for tyranny, debauchery, and violence. When a massive fire consumed Rome in 64 CE, many believed Nero started it to clear land for his grand palace, the Domus Aurea. He blamed Christians, initiating one of history's earliest recorded persecutions. Nero executed his own mother, stepbrother, and wife. His cruelty extended to artistic delusions. Citizens were forced to attend his endless performances under threat of death. His rule ended in rebellion and suicide, but not before destabilizing the empire. King John of England. He taxed his people into ruin and crushed dissent with iron law. King John ruled England from 1199 to 1216, and is often remembered as the monarch who was forced to sign the Magna Carta, but his infamy runs deeper. He extorted the nobility, sold legal judgments to the highest bidder, and imposed unbearable taxes to fund failed wars in France. He allegedly starved his own nephew, Arthur, to death in prison to eliminate a rival claim to the throne. His military incompetence led to the loss of Normandy and other territories. John's cruelty and mismanagement triggered a rebellion so severe that it reshaped English law. King Richard II of England. His ineffective rule and favoritism sparked rebellion and ended in his downfall. Richard II reigned from 1377 to 1399, inheriting the throne as a child. His reign was marked by political mismanagement, heavy taxation, and favoritism towards select courtiers, alienating powerful nobles. His harsh suppression of the peasants' revolt in 1381 demonstrated ruthless control but failed to address deeper social issues. Richard's arbitrary decisions and autocratic style led to growing opposition. Eventually, Henry Bolingbroke, a cousin, invaded England, deposed Richard, and took the throne as Henry IV. Richard was imprisoned and died under mysterious circumstances, likely murdered, ending the Plantagenet line. Vlad III of Wallachia. He ruled through terror, impaling thousands to instill fear. Vlad III, known as Vlad the Impaler, ruled Wallachia, part of modern-day Romania, during the mid-15th century. While later romanticized as the inspiration for Dracula, Vlad's real legacy is soaked in blood. He earned his title by impaling enemies, rebels, and even suspected traitors on massive wooden stakes. In 1462, he reportedly impaled over 20,000 Ottoman prisoners outside Targovishte to deter invasion. Entire villages were massacred for minor offenses. Though some viewed him as a patriot who resisted Ottoman domination, his reign was defined by sadistic violence and indiscriminate brutality. Caligula, Rome's mad emperor. He treated the empire like a personal playground of cruelty and chaos. Caligula, emperor of Rome from 37 to 41 CE, began his rule with promise, but quickly descended into madness and sadism. He demanded to be worshipped as a living god, appointed his horse as a priest, and possibly a consul, and executed anyone who displeased him, including close allies and family members. His reign was marked by public humiliation of senators, arbitrary killings, and senseless extravagance. Caligula once ordered soldiers to collect seashells as spoils of war after a failed invasion of Britain. His cruelty and instability led to his assassination by his own guards. Emperor Hirohito of Japan. He presided over an empire soaked in blood, yet never faced judgment. Emperor Hirohito reigned from 1926 to 1989, overseeing Japan's aggressive expansion and atrocities during World War II. While his exact role remains debated, Hirohito authorized military campaigns that resulted in the deaths of millions. Under his reign, the imperial army committed the rape of Nanking, where an estimated 300,000 civilians were slaughtered. Biological warfare, human experimentation by Unit 731, and mass executions occurred across Asia. Despite this, Hirohito was never tried after the war. Allied powers, valuing political stability, allowed him to remain on the throne, shielding him from prosecution. King Herod the Great. He modernized Judea while ruthlessly eliminating anyone who challenged him. King Herod ruled Judea as a client king under Rome from 37 to 4 BCE. Celebrated for grand architectural projects like the expansion of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, Herod's cruelty overshadowed his achievements. He executed his wife Mariamne, her mother, and 3 of his sons, fearing plots against his rule. According to the Gospel of Matthew, he ordered the massacre of the innocents, the killing of all male infants in Bethlehem, to eliminate a prophesied rival. Though debated by historians, the account aligns with Herod's documented pattern of violent paranoia and political purging. King Richard III of England. He gained power through suspicion and likely murdered royal children to keep it. Richard III ruled England from 1483 to 1485 and remains one of the most controversial monarchs in British history. After the death of his brother, King Edward IV, Richard took custody of his young nephews, Edward V and Richard of Shrewsbury, both rightful heirs. The 2 princes were lodged in the Tower of London and never seen again. Most historians believe Richard ordered their deaths to secure the throne. He also crushed dissent ruthlessly, seizing lands from rivals and executing opponents. His brief reign ended at the Battle of Bosworth Field, where he was killed and the Tudor dynasty began. Genghis Khan. He forged the largest contiguous empire through unparalleled brutality and strategy. Genghis Khan, born Temujin in the 12th century, united Mongol tribes and led a campaign of conquest across Asia and into Europe. His armies were notorious for mass slaughter. Entire cities were razed and populations massacred if they resisted. Khan used psychological terror, such as spreading rumors of his mercilessness, to prompt surrender without battle. His military tactics combined speed, mobility, and coordination, overwhelming enemies who underestimated the Mongol cavalry. Despite his savage methods, he established a code of laws and promoted trade, but his legacy remains inseparable from the scale of destruction his conquests caused. Tamerlane, Timur. He carved out a vast empire through devastating military campaigns marked by extreme brutality. Tamerlane, ruling in the late 14th and early 15th centuries, sought to restore the Mongol Empire's glory, but governed with unmatched cruelty. His conquests spanned Persia, Mesopotamia, parts of India, and Russia. Cities that resisted were destroyed, and survivors often slaughtered or enslaved. Tamerlane famously built towers of skulls from his victims as warnings to others. His campaigns resulted in millions of deaths and widespread destruction. Despite his violent methods, he promoted arts and architecture in his capital, Samarkand, but his legacy is largely defined by terror and mass slaughter. Not only kings have left behind legacies of cruelty and ruthless rule. History is also filled with queens whose actions shaped nations through violence, betrayal, and power struggles. To explore the stories of these formidable and often feared women, check out the video on Ruthless Queens, where their reigns and dark deeds are explained in full detail.